Welcome back to the channel, guys, and in today's video we are going to be discussing the rest of the Premier League season and predict the awards for the end of the season. Starting off with top goal scorer, I reckon, shock, it's going to be Erling Haaland again. I don't really think there's much else to say on this one. I think as long as Erling Haaland's in this league, he has that golden boot pretty much locked up. The only other person I would say, let's say if we did second place, I'd maybe give it to João Pedro. I think he's got something like 6 goals already in pre-season. I don't know who they've been playing, but he might have been stat padding. Chelsea are probably going to have a good season, meaning their strike force is going to have a good season. So I think João Pedro is in with a shout, but ultimately we all know that's going to be Erling Haaland. Moving on to top assister. Now there's a couple of players that I think you could put in there, like maybe Shirky or Cole Palmer, even a little rogue shout, Harry Wilson. There's the obvious choice, Bruno Fernandes, who broke the assist record last season. However, I don't think he's going to do that again. I don't think he's going to have nearly as good of a season as what he did last year. So I'm going to go with a bit of a newcomer, and you're probably not that surprised when you hear me say this, but I'm going to go with Zolis. I think Zolis is a stat pad man, as I've said in other videos before, and I can see him racking up the assist in this season. He's not one to shoot and try score. He is one to try set up his teammates. That is not a problem in that Arsenal team. Obviously, he's going to have Kai Havertz and Gyökeres up top, and I think they're both going to benefit from having him on that left-hand side. Okay, moving on to player of the season. I think player of the season is more than likely going to go to a player of the team that win the league. And obviously, if you've watched my prediction video for the 2026-2027 league table, you'll know that I've got Arsenal finishing top, as I think a lot of people do. So with that in mind, I am going to go with Declan Rice. There's a couple shouts for player of the season. I think if Odegaard continues on the form that he's been on since the World Cup, I think he very well could get player of the season. And then obviously you've got Bruno G. I think Bruno G will be a great shout. I think first season, maybe just give him that year to just ease into the team. So I'm going to go with Declan Rice. I think now that Rodri is no longer a part of the league as well, I think it is very. I don't really see who else gets in his way. I think Declan Rice is a fantastic player. I don't know how he doesn't get player of the season this season. So moving on to best manager. Now, again, you could argue you would just give it to the team that win the league, but I'm not. I'm going to go a little bit out there with this one. Well, I say out there. I think he's another one that a lot of people are predicting will have a good season. Obviously, it's first season in the Prem. It's a bit unknown. But I'm going to go with Xabi Alonso. I think Xabi Alonso is an excellent coach. We've seen that at Leverkusen. And I think he was a bit hard done by at Real Madrid. Coming in at Chelsea, obviously they've got a stacked squad now. They have been signing player after player after player. They've got an excellent influxation of youth coming through as well. I think if they manage to keep on hold of Enzo Fernandez, I think that's good for them. So, yeah, I think manager of the season, I'm going to go Xabi Alonso. Failing that, it probably most likely will be Arteta. Moving on to a little bit more of a sour note, let's go with the first managerial sacking of the season. I think a lot of people will probably suspect that it'll be an Ipswich coach or a Hull coach, maybe even Lampard, depending on how they start the season. I think a lot of people will guess that a manager who has been with a newly promoted side would go down first, but I'm not going to go down that route. I'm going to go with another new manager that has come into the league, and he is trying to turn his team into Real Madrid B team, and I'm going to go Arbeloa. I think if it doesn't work out very quickly, I think Fulham could be in a conversation for getting relegated this season. It depends on the style of football that Arbeloa wants to play. It's going to be a massive shock to the system when he realises Fulham aren't Real Madrid. I know they play in white, but they're not Real Madrid. He's tried to bring in a few players from Real Madrid as well, like academy kids. We don't know if that's always going to work. We don't know if that's going to gel in this league. This league is a very physical league. I don't know if the academy kids over at Real Madrid are that physical. And I don't know if Arbeloa's football will take to the Prem very well. So, yeah, first sacking, I've got Arbeloa. Next up, we've got the best signing of the season. And listen, I think we can all be in agreement here. I think Bruno G is going to run away with that. I think Bruno G, I think everyone has realised that he is an absolute player and a half. He was by far Newcastle's best player. He was their captain. And Newcastle fans are fuming that he is gone. And they're going to miss him. Their loss is our gain. And I think Bruno G is going to have a fantastic season with Arsenal. He might be just shy of missing out player of the season, but he's definitely going to go down as one of the best signings of the summer. Moving on swiftly to the best newcomer. So for this one, I've gone for a player. Obviously, best newcomer is a player that has not yet played in the Premier League. I'm going to predict that they hit the ground running, and that's going to be Vuskovic of Brighton. Obviously, previously at Spurs, he went out on loan to Hoffenheim. I think he got player of the season over there. He got goal of the season over there. He's only 18 years of age, might be 19 now. Don't know when his birthday is. Obviously, he's gone for big money to Brighton for 40 mil. Didn't even play a minute for Spurs, so technically counts as a newcomer to the Premier League. And I think Vuskovic is a fantastic player. From what I've seen of him on the highlight comps, I'm not going to lie, I've not watched a lot of Hoffenheim, but from what I've seen from the comps and what I'm hearing from other reporters is that he's a fantastic player. So I'm going to back him on this one. I'm going to say Vuskovic is going to be the best newcomer in the Premier League. Breakout star. Okay, so breakout star, I've gone for a young boy. Plays for Arsenal. Broke onto the scene last season. Got a few minutes. Looked good. Scored a very crucial goal against Everton. And I think he's going to get way more minutes this season. I think we're going to have to manage Saka's minutes this season. And I think Madueke will eventually play himself out of the team by the way that he performs. And Max Dowman is going to be the breakout star. I think Max Dowman, his ceiling is, there's no ceiling on it. Do you know what I mean? It's a glass ceiling, and he's going to break through it this season. I think if he can add goals to his game, as well as having tricky feet and just looking like an absolute problem on that right wing, but he can also play cam, and I wouldn't even mind testing him out in striker in the cup games. I think he's going to be a fantastic player this season. He's another one to look out for. Breakout star, Max Dowman. Best young player. So this is a player that I believe is going to be under 21. And I'm going with another Arsenal boy. I think he's going to have a fucking incredible season. And I think he's played himself into the team. And I think he's gave Arteta an absolute headache. I think he's going to start in the opening game against Coventry City. I think he's going to add goals. I think he's going to dictate games at time. Even stand out against Bruno G and against Odegaard and against Declan Rice. And that's Miles Lewis-Skelly. Man United and Chelsea both wanted Miles Lewis-Skelly to help compete against Arsenal. You can't have him. He's at us. And we're keeping him. That's our star boy, Hale End. I think Miles Lewis-Skelly is going to have an absolute worldie of a season. Stay locked in on him. Moving on to flop signing of the season. Now, this might be a bit of a rogue one. I think Elliot Anderson is going to be a flop signing, but hear me out as to why I think that. I think Elliot Anderson, when he first got signed for Man City, was not supposed to be the Rodri replacement. He was supposed to play alongside Rodri. Obviously, now with Rodri moving on to Barcelona, that has put so much pressure on Elliot Anderson. All of a sudden, his expectation has gone up. I think Man City fans are now expecting him to fill Rodri's boots, and I don't think he's ready to do that yet. I think he could have benefited from having a season playing alongside Rodri. Unfortunately, now he's been rushed into this. He does not have that option. He is going to have to be that Rodri replacement, and I don't know if that's what he signed up for. I think Anderson is a good player, and for the record, I think long term, I think Anderson will be fantastic for Man City. I just think this first season now, there is so much pressure on him. I just can't see him, like I said, filling them boots of Rodri. So, may sound rogue, but I've got reasoning behind it. I'm going Elliot Anderson as a flop signing this season. Sort of on the back of that, I'm going for hot take next. A hot take is something where you sort of just make a bold prediction. And listen, it's meant to be out there. It's meant to be outrageous. So, just take it with a bit of pinch of salt, okay? But I think Maresca at Man City is going to be sacked by January. Very similar to what I was saying about Anderson and Rodri. I think with this one, I think Maresca is trying to fill Pep Guardiola's boots. Now, granted, we are in a league now where I feel like teams, They like to look at the Arteta mould and they like to try and give managers a good, healthy bit of time. Man City have not been in this situation where they are not challenging for the league for years now. And I think if they get to January and they are so far off it, I don't think it's crazy to say that Maresca will either walk or be sacked. Who they'll bring in, I don't know. Question marks over maybe Vincent Kompany. Could they pry him away from Bayern? Or obviously a Man City legend. You just don't know. But I don't think it's that crazy to say that Maresca could go by January. Like I said, if they're not in the title race and they seem far off it, I don't think City fans will take that. We saw how the Community Shield went. Granted, it was one game, but that was almost their starting 11. That was their strongest 11. And they did not look good one bit. I guess we'll just have to see how it plays out in the season. But like I said, just take that one with a pinch of salt. I'm just going Maresca to get sacked by Jan. Okay, moving in to overachievers of the season. They are a part of the top 6 sides, if you will. However, they finished 17th last season. They finished 17th the season before then. I'm going Spurs. I think Spurs will finish, obviously, if you've watched my table prediction, you'll see that I've got Spurs finishing 5th. I think it was 5th. I'm pretty sure it was 5th. 5th from 17th, that is a huge jump for them. I just think with the window that they've had, they have made so many improvements to that squad and they needed to do that. Their defence has been packed in with solid Prem players. Maybe Robertson's a bit off it now, but Van Heck is a good signing. Obviously, they've now lost Jed Spence as well. Don't really know why they did that off the back of I'd say a semi-decent World Cup. I thought he was a good player for them, but they've kept Udogie. That one don't really make sense to me. They've obviously signed Mateus Fernandes as well. So basically, all in all, I'm saying they've had a good window. They've managed to get Savinho over the line. If they can get Gakpo or Marmoush, I think that is a good winger on both sides at that point. And I wouldn't be surprised if Spurs do something this season in terms of just getting near the top 4 again. So for overachievers, I've got Spurs. But obviously, I know they're a top 6 side. But we can only base this off what they've done over the last couple of years. And the last couple of years, they have been shit. Okay, so moving on to I forgot to make a graphic. So ignore the fact that there's no graphic for this. I'm going League Cup Arsenal. I'm going FA Cup Chelsea. I think Chelsea will get silverware this season. I rate Xabi Alonso highly. I think he's a fantastic coach, as I've already said. And so my logic behind this is I'm going Arsenal League Cup, because I think, spoiler, I think we'll go far in the Champions League. So if we go far in the Champions League, obviously the FA Cup is played at a later date. The FA Cup sort of goes all the way through to the end of the season, past January. I think we'll put all our eggs in the Champions League basket. Therefore, I think we'll play weaker sides in the FA Cup and we'll probably drop out of it. League Cup, that's done by February. So with that in mind, I think we'll go strong and I think we'll win the League Cup. FA Cup, I'm backing Chelsea. If Chelsea want to bounce back, what better way to do that than to win the FA Cup? Get silverware in Xabi Alonso's first season. All of a sudden, we're having conversations for next season. Can they challenge? Can they push Arsenal all the way? Obviously, I think Arsenal are going to win the league. Do I think Arsenal will win the league 3 times in a row? I don't know about that yet. Okay, so moving into the last 3 competitions, the Champions League, the Europa League, and the Europa Conference League. I'm going to save you guys some time. I've gone English teams for all 3. The Premier League has proven that we are by far the best and the most competitive league in the world. Last season, we had a winner from the Premier League for each competition, and I don't think it's going to be no different. Obviously, mine is Champions League, but just let that one slide, right? We were a couple fucking pen kicks away from winning the whole thing. I don't need to see that Gabriel gif anymore. Fuck off. Champions League, I'm going Arsenal. 3 years ago, we did quarterfinals, then we did semi-finals, then we did the final. I think this year's our year. Declan Rice, when he said it's not done, it's not done. That man was smiling. He's a psychopath. He was smiling at the end of the Champions League final. Smiling at the camera. You can call it performative. You can call it what you want. I think that man is tapped. He just knows, listen, we're going to be back next year and we're going all the way and we're smoking the lot. And I think the additions of Bruno G and Zolis and Konza now, I think that's going to add enough depth to our squad to get us to the final and hopefully win it. I believe we will. Let's just go do it. Europa League, I'm going Bournemouth. I think Bournemouth have a fantastic team. They'll have Krupi back by this point as well, and I think if they can get through the group stage, well, I say the group stage, that league phase, and get to the knockout phase, I think Krupi will be a huge player for them. I think Rayan will be a huge player for them. They are just a very constructed team. Iriola has done wonders for them by building that team and sort of moving on to pastures new now with Liverpool. But he's handed over the reins to a very good coach in Rose, and Bournemouth. Their squad's too good to not compete in the Europa League. So keeping it short and sweet, I think they'll go all the way. Last one, Conference League. Not really much else to say on this one. I just think Brighton will win. Other teams I'm looking at in that league is like Atalanta. Brighton Atalanta final. That's all I've got. But yeah, anyway, guys, that is the end of the video. That is the Premier League predictions. We will be coming back to this video at the end of the season and comparing to see how I got on. But other than that, thanks for tuning in and stay locked into the channel because, as I said, there was way more content coming all through the season. Let's fucking get it.